Now, it's a significant deal for Barcelona that could have an impact on the future of Frenkie de Jong and Robert Lewandowski's proposed move to the club. And to tell us more on this, we're joined by Spanish football expert Alvaro Montero. Alvaro, always great to speak to you. Can you give us an update, any details on this deal?
Hi, Tom. Good afternoon. Well, yes, it's difficult to explain, but I'm going to do my best so everybody can understand it. Yesterday, Barca, the board members, proposed in the assembly to sell the 49.9%, so less than 50%, obviously, of BLM. This BLM is a company that started in 1st July 2018, so 4 years ago, and it's the company that runs the business of retail of the club, especially merchandising. With this operation, they want or they expect to earn between 200 and 300 million euros. Of course, this was approved by the majority of the Assembly, Football Club Barcelona, yesterday. And also, Barca, the board members, decided to sell or to give the 25% of the TV rights for the next years. We are talking about 40 million euros this 1 quarter, this 25%. So if we sum both operations, they expect to earn between 600 and 700 million euros in the next years. And as you have said, it will be good for them to resolve their financial problems. And we're going to speak about now, if you want, try to sell and especially to buy and sign new players.
Well, yeah, which we will get onto in a moment. But this deal, like you say in there, that there's a lot of positives to this deal. Does this actually secure the future of Barcelona? Because for quite some time, we've been talking about how much they've been struggling financially.
Yeah, it's a good question. They said that this operation right now, or these several operations, it's the only way for Football Club Barcelona to resist and to keep on fighting economically. They have said that, for instance, with this BLM selling and with the TV right holders, they can buy them again, so get them in the future, in the next years. And they expect they have this idea of per each 10% of the sale, earn 200 million euros. So maybe it's risky, it sounds risky, but President Joan Laporta and especially all the board members are saying two things, especially first is we need to do this, there's no other option, there's no other way. And we need it because the economical situation is extremely bad. And if we want to keep on fighting and especially to sign new players, there's no options better than these ones.
Talking about signing new players, what does that mean for signing Robert Lewandowski? I take it means it's more likely.
Yeah, of course. Inside the club, everybody says that Robert Lewandowski is a target and the option number one. They say off the record that the player wants to sign for Football Club Barcelona. In fact, it is said in Catalonia and here in Spain that Robert Lewandowski has refused teams like Chelsea or Paris Saint-Germain. But it's not only Robert Lewandowski, it's the possibility of signing players such as Marcos Alonso and Azpilicueta from Chelsea, Jules Koundé, and Bernardo Silva. I believe Bernardo Silva is going to depend on what happens with Frenkie de Jong, because we all know that Frenkie de Jong is a desired player for Manchester United. We've been speaking in the last weeks about those famous 70, 80 million euros, maybe plus bonus, which seems exactly the same of what Manchester City can ask for Bernardo Silva. The feeling inside the club in Football Club Barcelona is that Bernardo Silva wants to play for them, wants to play in Barcelona, wants to arrive to the Camp Nou. And in fact, they said, it's not my news, I'm not sure about this, but it is said that the player has told them that he has been speaking with Manchester City and Pep Guardiola, asking them to at least listen the Barca offer. So maybe it's a possibility if Frenkie de Jong leaves Football Club Barcelona and signs for Manchester United, Bernardo Silva could arrive. But not only Koundé, not only Marcos Alonso, not only Azpilicueta, target number one is Robert Lewandowski. And with this financial engineering, it seems that Robert Lewandowski could be closer for sure.
So ultimately then, with all of that going on, it seems a little bit of a question mark as to whether De Jong to Manchester United can happen, especially if it's going to be dependent on Bernardo Silva, who's still playing for Manchester City. Do you think that ultimately De Jong will end up in that red shirt at Old Trafford?
I say he will go for to play for Manchester United, as we've been saying in the last days, especially for two reasons. First one is because the player knows that Ten Hag wants the player; it's his desire. Of course, it's Manchester United, the one who's knocking in your door, and it's an amazing club, and it's Premier League. And apart from Bernardo Silva's situation, which is, I will say, recent, there is a problem, an economical one. And it seems, they believe this in Football Club Barcelona, that Frenkie de Jong is maybe not the best player, but the player in the market with most value and the one they can have or earn more money. We are speaking about 70 million, 80 million euros, which is a lot nowadays. So I will say it's a huge possibility for Frenkie de Jong to leave the club, although he has said to Football Club Barcelona and with his national team a few days ago in press conference that he wanted to stay. Barca was his love club. He loves to stay in Barcelona, in La Liga, but Manchester City is a big option. So I will say it's very close, especially because Frenkie de Jong had understand that the Barca situation and economical situation maybe depends, and the way out depends in his living.
Alvaro, there's one more question, because we've been talking a lot about Barcelona, but what about Real Madrid? Because I don't know if you saw some quotes yesterday where Perez was talking about Kylian Mbappe, who of course didn't end up signing for Real Madrid. He said that Mbappe must have, quote, changed his dream by deciding to stay at Paris Saint-Germain. Can this deal ever be resurrected?
If you're asking what I believe myself about the future of Kylian Mbappe, I will say he could play in the next years in Real Madrid, let's say in 2-3 years for sure. But what I can tell for sure is the feeling inside the club, not only for Florentino Perez, but as we've been speaking in the last week, of every single one who works inside. They were extremely disappointed because the player recognized, and they've told them last month of August and September before the Liga started, that his desire and his dream was to play in Real Madrid. And after they rejected, that was why nothing was signed, because they had his word. What is believed in Real Madrid is that the player still has a feeling and an affair with the club, but it's not exactly the same. I'm not sure what is going to happen, because I wouldn't say that Florentino Perez or Real Madrid as a club is as angry with Mbappe, so they're not going to sign him in the future. I wouldn't say that, but they believe the player had got a lot of pressure from the national president of the Republic. We are speaking about Macron, and from Qatar, and maybe money, of course, but it was not the problem, as Kylian Mbappe told Real Madrid. So they believe with these pressures and with the job of the player, maybe in the future he can play. But this train has just get out from the station, and the future we don't know. I will say he is not going to play. No, maybe he can, but now it's even more difficult than 1 year ago for sure.
Alvaro, always great to speak to you, and it's going to be a busy summer. That's the way we like it. Thank you.
Thank you. My pleasure. Bye-bye.